$7 trillion asset manager Charles Schwab will be launching their spot crypto trading within the next 12 months. This is bullish. In today's video, we'll be going over the recent news that has positively impacted the crypto market. We'll also be talking about the bullish case scenario for Bitcoin. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So this is no lie, 7.13 trillion asset manager Charles Schwab will launch a spot crypto trading platform within the next 12 months. Even if Bitcoin is at lower levels than where it currently is in the next 12 months, this is ultimately a very positive thing for crypto. We cannot overlook this. We saw what happened with the spot ETFs. This is another level. Now let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. As we can see here, we have entered a very important zone that we've been discussing on the channel for the past few weeks, and that is the previous area of breakdown. This chart is the 12-hour time frame, and as we can see here, as soon as we got into this area at first, we did get rejected, and now we are continuing to go ahead and chop higher. Now, part of this move is also fueled because there was a ton of liquidity above the 95K level, and as you can see here on this chart, we completely grabbed all of that liquidity, and now a lot of people are starting to pile into longs. But looking at Bitcoin, especially if you're trading this price action, what you want to see is a confirmation above this important level. This region brings us all the way into the high $98,000. So yes, I know this is a pretty large gap, but if we're discussing a blindly easy long, it would be to hold this level as support, targeting new all-time highs. I think that that could potentially be the easiest trade of a lifetime, because if we're able to hold a previous breakdown region like this, it would show a lot of strength for Bitcoin. Right now, as I'm recording this video, we're sitting right around $96,000. Yes, we went ahead and grabbed that liquidity, but if we zoom out even more, what we can see here is that on the daily chart, this is starting to look pretty nice. Now, I told you in yesterday's video that if we were not able to hold 91.8K, it would be looking pretty bad for Bitcoin. And we do still have a long way to go until we can reclaim this region. But for now, it is certainly looking positive, in line with our expectations of us chopping up into this range and wrecking a lot of traders in the meantime. The most bullish case scenario for Bitcoin would be to have a weekly close above this level, hold it as support, and then, in my opinion, we'd be off to the races. We still have the stock market below the 200-day moving average, so you do need to consider that, because if the stock market does reject, Bitcoin likely will as well, but we cannot deny Bitcoin's relative strength at this very moment. And if we really zoom out here, this is what you want to look for. As we can see, the previous month opened at around $82,500, and we got a massive pump to the upside. Right now, Bitcoin is sitting just above the yearly open, which is also a super crucial level. That level is right around $93,400, which is also why on the shorter time frames, we saw a little bit of hesitation to get above that level. But right now, it does look like we're holding it as support. And if we go on the monthly chart, what we can see here is that this was a huge green candle. So we had a bunch of fear near the bottom, testing the previous year's range high, which we discussed on the channel. And now it's looking like we want to go ahead and move higher. So as soon as we get that confirmation above here, holding at a support, I will flip fully bullish. Now, if you're in my free Telegram group, you'll remember that I told you today would be a more bullish video, because we've already discussed at length the downside of Bitcoin in case it goes ahead and rolls over. So I thought I would switch things up today and give you the most bullish case scenario that I am currently looking at. And honestly, if 74.5K does end up being the bottom for Bitcoin, I think we can pat ourselves on the back, because we talked about this level when Bitcoin was sitting right around $106,000. So if this were to hold as support, which right now it does currently look like it would ultimately be very bullish with Bitcoin. And it's also in line with our expectations that despite the short-term price action, I think that we will be easily putting in a new all-time high sometime this year. Now, the question is, how high can we go? Personally, I do think it is realistic for Bitcoin to be somewhere between $130,000 and $160,000. I know there's a lot of influencers screaming for 200K, 400K, 500K, but just remember, last cycle we all thought that 100K was a no-brainer. It's going to hit 100K, and we didn't even make it past 70K. So it's okay to temper your expectations just a little bit. Now, of course, if Bitcoin ends up going to an insane price level like that, 400K, I would be extremely happy. But I still think around 150K is a reasonable top for Bitcoin before we go ahead and head into a bear market. That is, of course, if you follow the 4-year cycle. Now, as I'm recording this video, pre-markets are green for stocks, which of course helps Bitcoin. We can see here that the S&P 500 is up just under 1%. The NASDAQ futures are up over 1%. And then we have the Dow Jones future up around 0.5%. Very positive and nice to see. Now, what's going to happen with Bitcoin? This is obviously the level where we can be expecting some kind of resistance, as we just discussed. So I would not be rushing into trades. If we get rejected here and then we can't hold 91.8K, yes, we will be heading lower. But if we can hold this level of support, continue to chop up as we've been doing, and then hold this region as support, I would be willing to tell you that yes, an all-time high is imminent for Bitcoin. Now, if we take a look at some of the most positive news that came out affecting this Bitcoin price action and of course affecting our trades, at last, Chinese media finally reported that the US did reach out to China for tariff discussions. You'll remember that Trump said, yes, we've been talking with China every single day, and China refused to say the same. Now we finally have this coming out confirming that there are at least a few discussions. And now also $1.3 trillion asset manager Morgan Stanley is to offer crypto trading to their e-trade clients. Very bullish medium to long term, and this also coincides with what we started the video with. Also, outside of these crypto specific news pieces, the US and Ukraine have officially signed a minerals deal. This is also very bullish because it does give some relief to the broader markets. And back to Bitcoin, if most of your portfolio is in Bitcoin, you'll love to hear this. North Carolina House passes bill to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now we can see their progress here on the Bitcoin Laws website. As we can see, we have Arizona progressing the most. It is now in Chamber 2, almost enacted. And then we have North Carolina here that just got to Committee 2. Let's see how this develops. Ultimately, I think that most of these US states will be having a strategic Bitcoin reserve, as the US itself has already established that. We are just waiting for them to start buying some Bitcoin. Now, the Bitcoin spot ETFs, you'll remember that in a few videos ago, I was talking about how high these inflows have been, and that usually it could be a topping signal for the Bitcoin spot ETFs. What we can see here is that that was indeed the case. Hundreds of millions of dollars, sometimes close to billions of dollars worth of inflows, as we can see these days, 900 million on April 22nd and April 23rd. And then we did see a little bit of a reversal yesterday with $56 million worth of outflows. Honestly, this is just standard and it's nothing to be concerned about. Now back to the Bitcoin chart, you know my levels. And if you want to trade this price action, assuming you think perhaps Bitcoin will get rejected here and we will come back here and revisit the yearly open, or you think that we will continue to chop up, I would highly recommend that you sign up to Weeks with the first link in my description down below. With my link, you get a 20% deposit bonus, but you also get 25% off all of your trading fees. That is only with the first link in my description down below. And what does that 20% deposit bonus actually mean? Let's say you deposit $10,000 into your Weeks account for trading, you would get $2,000 back for free for all your trades. So keep in mind, this bonus won't be around for much longer. I would highly recommend that you go ahead and take advantage of it. Again, the first link in my description down below, and all you need is an email and a password to sign up and start your trading journey today. Okay, so now that we've gone over all of the bullishness, I do want to talk about a couple of bearish signals that are currently flashing. I know I said it was going to be a full bull video, but I do need to warn you a little bit of the downside. So one of the things that you need to pay attention to is this liquidation heat map. As we can see, we pumped to the upside and grabbed a lot of the liquidity for all of the people that were shorting the crap out of this market. Now, the issue is a lot of people have already started to re-enter aggressive longs. As we can see here, there's a ton of liquidity building up below $94,000. The reason why this is so important is because if we take a look at the yearly open, right at $93,400. So this will be a very big confluence level, and it wouldn't surprise me if we go ahead and at least retest this another time. And this other liquidation chart that I've been looking at suggests that once again, a lot of people are going long. Right now, there's around $14 billion of cumulative long leverage liquidation, which is right around $84,000. So if we were to go to that level, there would be a ton of liquidations. Now, on the other side, not a lot of people are shorting the market. We can see right now that there is just under $4 billion of cumulative short liquidation leverage, and that is if Bitcoin were to go all the way up to just around $105,000. So make sure that you're keeping your eyes on this, because this could tell us that we would get another shakeout before we go ahead and go full bull mode. And this is why I have also been saying in my recent videos that I'm expecting this region to continue to act as resistance, even if we continue to chop up to the upside here. So keep your eyes on this. I personally wouldn't be too aggressive with the trading, but if we can confirm above this level, at that point, we are good to go. And the last worrying sign that we do need to go over just quickly is that there's a clear divergence in futures versus spot on Bitcoin. This is usually not a positive signal. This is inherently bearish, but it can last a lot longer than we think. That's why, despite the fact that I've recently been a little bit more bearish, I still think that we can continue to chop up and grab a lot of liquidity. And if you look a little bit closer at the chart here, we can see down below that the aggregated futures is continuing to rise. Meanwhile, the spot is continuing to go down, which is typically not the healthiest environment for Bitcoin. Overall, though, the medium to long term still suggests that Bitcoin will be putting in a new all-time high this year. I firmly believe that. Unless we get some kind of crazy unforeseen developments, I really think that this is the case. Again, if you want to trade Bitcoin, you have the first link in my description down below. You can also trade altcoins there. But remember, I still think that Bitcoin dominance will continue to increase regardless of if Bitcoin chops around, if it dumps, or even if it pumps. What will really determine whether or not altcoins will pump, especially against Bitcoin, is a change in monetary policy. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.